Good evening and welcome to Sports Plus. I'm Frank Cusimano. This is Corey Miller. You know, we'd like to think we had a pretty good 2025, and we're going to take a half hour and show you why.
We looked back and we put together the best stories we've done, as well as some of the great conversations we've had with some of the headliners and interest generators in sports and entertainment.
We lead off with one of the most watched stories we had on our social media platforms this year, news or sports. We marked 56 years since arguably one of the most talked about interviews in St. Louis sports history. Former KSDK sports reporter Ron Jacober sat down at Bush's Grove with Cardinal Hall of Fame broadcaster Harry Carey. The same afternoon, AB fired him. We talked with Ron where that memorable interview took place. So for tonight's main event, with the help of producer Jacob Kurth, we give you the story.
After 25 years, I thought at least they would call me in and tell me face to face, Harry, this is what you did that we don't like, or this is why we don't want you to be associated with us anymore. Or you would think there'd be a little bit of a personal touch.
Harry Carey, the Cardinals broadcaster since 1945, had been unceremoniously fired just hours earlier, and Ron Jacober, a sports reporter at Channel 5 for 8 months, almost to the day, was about to land the biggest interview of his young career.
Harry was so popular, and I was the only one that found him that day, the only media person that found him. And we heard a rumor that the marketing committee at the brewery was going to make a decision. I went down to the brewery with a camera crew, Dick Deacon as a matter of fact, and waiting outside this room, the door opened, it's Al Fleischman.
Fleischman, a powerful public relations executive, counted the Cardinals' then owner, Anheuser-Busch, among his clients.
Fleischman walks in and said, son, what are you doing here? I was a young kid. I was a rookie. And I said, well, we understand there was going to be a decision on Harry. He said, if there is ever a decision, it'll be announced at the appropriate time.
In the weeks before Harry's firing was announced, there were rumors that the 1969 season would be his last with the Redbirds. One day before Harry was let go, his 10-minute show on KMOX was canceled. But the show's sponsor, coincidentally, Anheuser-Busch, assured him that the cancellation didn't mean he was fired. On October 9th, word came down that Harry was gone.
We knew some of his watering holes, and we started looking, and we found him here. Probably 2 or 3 in the afternoon, something like that. Walked in, he had 3 or 4 cronies with him. And he said, Ron, have a Schlitz. And I said, no, Harry, but will you do an interview? Yeah, damn right I will. So I called Dickie and the crew in, and Harry had the can here. I said, Harry, will we put the can down? I won't do the interview if I have to put the can down. I said, okay. This was his way of protesting, the fact that the brewery fired him.
I'm sure that Gutsy Bush would have called me in and told me to my face whatever reason there was for it, if he could have done it. I think he feels as badly about it tonight as I feel. And if he doesn't, I'm badly mistaken. I don't know who it is, what it is. Some of these rumors I hear are so fantastic. I've never wanted to even recognize them, you know. And yet you can't go around with a sign on your back saying, well, no, I didn't do this, or I didn't do that, or I have nothing to do with this person, or they have nothing to do with that person. I don't know. I think everybody knows what the rumors I'm talking about are.
One of those rumors was a dalliance with Susan Bush, the wife of August Bush III. While she maintained her relationship with Harry was always on the up and up, the couple filed for divorce the same year Harry was fired. Once the interview had wrapped, Jacober and photojournalist Dick Deacon arrived back at Channel 5 studios at about 5:30. There was a newscast at 6 o'clock.
We drove like crazy back down Highway 40, okay? Got in the lab. I'm back in projection at 6:15, roughly. They hand me the film, and I said on the intercom to the booth, what do you want to do with it? And they said, rack it up and roll it from the top. I said, you sure you want to do that? I knew there was no profanity in it, so we could get away with it. They said, yes. So they played, I don't know, 7 or 8 minutes of it, something like that, in 6 o'clock news. 6:40, I'm back in sports office, and the phone rings, and it's Al Fleischman. He said, son? Why he kept calling me son, I don't know. Do you have any idea how much money Anheuser-Busch spends on Channel 5? I said, no, sir. He said, I suggest you find out, and I strongly suggest you don't use that interview again at 10 o'clock.
Jacober would hear nothing of the sort. He got on the phone with Channel 5 General Manager Ray Karpowitz.
He said, "Oh, great interview, Ron. Oh, what a great scoop." I said, "Wait a minute, Ray." The phone rang. It's Al Fleischman. He said, oh my God, what are we going to do?" I said, "We're going to air it again at 10. We had a half-hour newscast at midnight. We're going to air it again at midnight. We aired it again the next day."
Jacober said for the next several years, Anheuser-Busch considered him persona non grata, but his relationship with Harry would endure.
I visited with Harry when he would come in with the Cubs. He said, "I made you famous." I said, "No, Harry, you made me infamous." People loved him. Harry's style was such that he told me one time, "I'm not doing these games for the guy sitting down the right field line. I'm doing these games for the guy sitting in the tavern in South St. Louis." I was just doing what I thought I should do. And I found the guy, and he agreed to talk to me. And I asked him tough questions, you know. I've always been a pretty good interviewer, but I didn't, the scope of this thing didn't hit me when I was doing the interview. Shaney's had a funny line, because Harry wound up as the Bud man in Chicago. And Red said, "Proves that beer is thicker than blood."
Perseverance is a critical trait of championship programs. There were a lot of reasons for the McKendree women's water polo team to celebrate this year, but the road they took to a championship pushed the limits of perseverance. The Bearcats' triumph and tragedy is tonight's Spotlight story. Water polo is not a sport for the faint-hearted.
We burn about 1,000 or 2,000 calories per practice.
I almost compare it to basketball, like you're giving your all for a really short amount of time, and then you have to do that exact thing again right after. For treading for so long, your legs just get very numb and your shoulders are giving out from swimming and shooting.
The McKendree University women's team is not short on heart.
The team and the culture that we have established here is built on hard work and discipline and determination.
Or talent. For the first time ever, the Bearcats are headed to the National Collegiate Water Polo Championships, facing off against the best in the country in every division of college sports.
The goal that I set was to make us a house name. I want people to know who McKendree Women's Water Polo is, and getting the opportunity to go compete at NCAAs is definitely going to give us that opportunity for sure.
It's uncharted water for the small program from Lebanon, Illinois. And it means even more once you learn what they've navigated to get here.
You know, very few teams have kind of been through what we've been through, and I think been able to, I think it was just impressive that the girls were able to rally through it.
Tragedy struck yesterday as friends say a beloved coach at McKendree University lost her life in a devastating crash on the highway.
That coach was McKendree women's and men's head water polo coach, Colleen Lishway. The 35-year-old wife and mother was 10 days away from leading the Bearcats back into the pool to begin their season, when on her way to McKendree one morning, a semi-truck hit her car, pushing it off the interstate.
She was truly the most inspirational person I've ever met in my entire life. Losing someone who reminded you every single day that you're meant to be here was really challenging going into season, having to try to remind yourself that you still are meant to be here. I came here for her. I met her at a combine in the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania, and I was like, that is the coolest woman I have ever met in my entire life. She's a badass.
Man, Colleen was something different. She was a mentor, she was a coach, she was a second mother, and she will get on your butt when you need it, but she also is loving, and she was caring, and you knew that it was tough love, and you knew that you were growing under her. There was never a doubt in our mind that we would have to push through. We knew that we'd have to push through. We knew that Colleen would want us to push through.
Attack, 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 attack!
The Bearcats have done more than push through. With 25-year-old assistant Alex Figueres taking the reins as head coach, McKendree went 21-7 and won their conference championship for the first time ever.
With their #1 fan watching from above with the biggest smile in the world, the McKendree Bearcats are the new WWPH champions!
And their former coach is never far from their minds.
This one is for Colleen.
She was there when we jumped in the pool, I know she was. She was there. She saw us. She was watching over us.
Now McKendree heads to Indianapolis to compete for a national championship.
We were already like the underdog in the first place, right? So we've got nothing to lose at this point. Okay.
And Colleen will still be right there with them.
Everybody else is playing for like a title or a trophy. We're all playing for someone who cared about us so unconditionally, and we really use that to care about each other and love each other unconditionally.
We wish she was there, in person to help us with this, because I know this is what she wanted for so many years, but we'll be bringing her with us for sure.
Reporting for Sports Plus.
Bearcats on 3, 1, 2, 3.
Welcome back. We went back and looked at all the Sunday conversations we've had over the last 12 months, and a lot of big names jumped out.
Local and national, sports and entertainment, the faces are instantly recognizable, and there were some compelling moments.
Here are a few of the best that we picked out, and we begin in an unusual setting.
This Sports Plus conversation is sponsored by your Quality Ford dealers. Ford F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 47 years.
I think for us to be good, we have to recruit really good young players. But the key, Frank, is we have to recruit really good young players. We got to develop them, and then now we have to retain them. Continuity is the only chance to have a sustainable championship level program.
How do you remember your times of wrestling at the Chase?
Wrestling at Chase was tough, it was Sunday morning, it was hard, and they were long matches. I just had one interview on the show, right? And I'd fly in from somewhere, even take a red eye from Hawaii one time to get here for it. But it was the most popular TV show in the country at that time. Wrestling at the Chase was a big deal. And wrestling in St. Louis was a big deal. That invitation wasn't open to everybody.
I'm wondering, what's it like to play the guy who's not liked in the film, like in Top Gun, Bo Simpson? Everybody likes John Hamm, but in that role, nobody liked your role, but you played it perfectly.
Well, I don't think you're ever going to be out likable Tom Cruise. That's so I knew that was a fool's errand right from the snap. That's a sequel that was 35 years in the making, and for Tom and Jerry Bruckheimer and the whole team involved to ask me to be a part of that, I was just thrilled to get the opportunity.
I think I was about 10 or 11 years old. For Christmas one year, it was about this big. I got a reel-to-reel recorder with the little 4-inch reels on it. And my sisters tell me, I don't know if I believe all the tales they tell, but they say on the playground, we'd be playing ball and I'd be doing play-by-play. And they're like, shut up and play. And I'm pretty sure it's pretty accurate.
How would you describe just how life changes when you become a gold medalist?
Well, in a lot of Olympic sports, and especially Winter Olympics, you're kind of an unknown going into the games, and it's kind of your one moment to shine. Olympics are every 4 years. It's pretty incredible when you have success there, and then you come home, and all of a sudden, life is a lot different.
Probably had to overcome a lot of things.
Yeah, you did. As far as, I would say, back in the day, we weren't on television a whole lot. And I remember when I caught a glimpse of women consistently on TV, was during the Olympics. You talk about pioneers, which I am. And make it, trailblazing and paving the way for the generation of today.
I think what's been overcome more is a mindset. I didn't even think to challenge or question why there were inequalities. I was happy with the crumbs that we got because it was better than the folks before us. And I thought, well, this is great. Like, we're getting gifts at the Final Four, but in Minneapolis in '94 for basketball, we got a container of Spam, a cooking cup, measuring thing, some Bisquick, and a sweatshirt.
Well, the Colorado Rockies are outdrawing the St. Louis Cardinals. I know Joe Strom is like the best ticket guy in the country, but man, this is stunning.
Yeah, is it? I think this has been kind of a long, slow burn of people just saying, meet us halfway. You know, I think the fans have every right, just like the Cardinal ownership has every right to determine where their business goes and who they're going to pay to bring in and, you know, what they're going to add in season. Cardinal fans have every right to say, well, let's see it.
How do you balance between being respectful to your boss, which you really respect, and just wanting to stay in there and get outs?
I know everybody thinks it's just that moment. I can give up the ball. Like, there's times where I give up the ball and I tell you where my line is, where I think I'm done. I also feel like that gives me credence to say, no, when I'm good, I'm good. Like, when I want the ball, like, give me the ball.
If you hear somebody breaking down something you do and they're talking good about it, is there something that you're most proud of that you do?
It's tough. I mean, I would say for a while it was, you know, defense, just because people would kind of just look to the nature of my hitting and kind of shadow me there, and that was something where I was like, hey, I think I'm a pretty good defender. But I mean, really, it's just grown into hitting. You know, that's kind of what makes me me. Is, of course, I can play some defense, but you know, how I'm doing in the box is really how I'm going. So that's an area that I just always want to be rock solid in.
What's been the most important thing for you during this stretch and dealing with it?
Emotionally dealing with stuff by myself. That's really, because I kind of thought I was over everything, and I thought everything was done. I kind of got to that peak, and then all of a sudden it hit me again, and it was like, this isn't over, this is hard, and this is going to get a lot harder. And emotionally, I think you put a tax on yourself to get better, and that part of it's been hard.
So did you ever think when you were at SEMO, making $15,000 a year, that one day you'd win a Super Bowl?
No, I just wanted to be a good quarterback coach. That was my goal. I wanted to try to keep improving every year as a quarterback coach, but I never thought things would happen so fast. It's been a great life. It's been a lot of fun. And to have this chapter now involve hockey, hell, I just coached the Tampa Bay Beer League hockey team. I just got my first win as a hockey coach. I'm excited about the future. Who knows what it brings?
The Sports Trailblazer of the Week is sponsored by Don Brown Chevrolet, the home of the Don Brown deal.
As we head into 2026, our trailblazer is an obvious one. The Cardinals president of baseball operations, Chaim Bloom. He has the task of putting his stamp on the direction of the team and guiding them back to relevance.
Time now for the Victory Men's Health, Frankly Speaking. We can't mask it. It's been a brutal year in St. Louis sports. The Cardinals, City SC, and the Blues have all performed under expectations. New people are in place, and hopefully the renovation will work. But in the meantime, we do have a winner to follow in St. Louis, the SLU basketball Billikens. It's one thing to win a lot of games, but it's another to do it with a swashbuckling style of run and gun and three-point shooting. They are the best show in town, and it's not even close. All I can say is enjoy the ride. That's our show for tonight. For Corey Miller and our senior producer, Andy Mueller, I'm Frank Cusumano.
What a run from Denny Hamlin. Kyle Kirkwood wins again.
Continue with us on 5+. Download on your TV and